If somebody said to you, I've got a car that nobody wants, would you like it? What would you say? So this is exactly what happened to me recently. And if, like me, you like to keep an eye on the car market and see how much vehicles are selling for, you can't fail to have noticed that car prices have really taken a nosedive over the last year or so. Even top-end supercars have seen up to 30% slashed off their values. And like most saleable items, cars are only worth what the current market is prepared to pay for them. And frankly, it seems that right now, no one is buying. Now, all cars experience a depreciation curve which tends to accelerate once they get past a certain age and mileage, bottoming out when it becomes more expensive to keep them on the road than they're actually worth. At that stage, people tend to sell them for peanuts and buy a newer car, hoping that it will be less expensive to own. Sadly, that isn't always the case though, as unless the replacement is brand new, you're actually buying an unknown vehicle which could have even more problems than the old one. Personally, I tend to subscribe to the better the devil you know philosophy, whereby you know the car very well as you've been driving it, you've been maintaining it, and the chances of it letting you down in the future are much reduced every time you fix something. So I was thinking, which car would I drive over the winter, as I tend to put the Quadrifoglio away during the bad months now, when the roads in the UK are wet and salty there. Definitely not the Spider, that's too precious. Definitely not the Lancia, as that's water soluble and has electrics made out of old ladies' hair and cobwebs. The 75? No. Again, I don't want to undo all the good work that's been done restoring the floor pan and the body. Maybe the 156? That is in great condition and it would be a good daily driver. Nah, the same thing applies as in the 75's case. And besides, I think I'm going to have to sell her. Aww. So that leaves the V6 GTV. Too much work needed to get it up and running for the autumn, I think. And I may have other plans for that car. The X19? Well, let's not even go there, shall we?
So in a well-timed piece of serendipity, I had contact with a mystery man called Steve, who told me he had an Alfa Romeo that he couldn't sell. And did I want it? If so, come and get it. Only problem was, it was in Daventry in Northamptonshire, some 3 hours away.
Of course, the natural reaction is to think, okay, what's the catch? But when I saw the photos of the car, it looked in great condition for a 2006. And the MOT history was also very good. So I thought, why not? It was a quick and economical 2.4 litre, 5-cylinder diesel, and it would be perfect for a winter driver and project car for the channel. So I said, yes, please, and arranged to collect it, getting a lift from my pal Gary.
So Gary and I drove up to Daventry. Is this Northamptonshire or Oxfordshire? I'm not sure which.
No, I'm not too sure either.
It's the middle of nowhere-shire.
After 300 yards, you have reached your destination. It is on your right.
There you go. It is on your right. The middle of nowhere. Arrived. Met Steve, or Bertie to his friends, who was a very friendly guy and also an Alfa Nut. He showed me the car and I was pleasantly surprised by the overall condition. And although it had a few issues which needed sorting, I felt they were all fairly minor and could probably be tackled by myself with a bit of help. It had full service history, and poor Steve had already spent money replacing a wheel bearing and some front suspension components. I decided to take the chance and drive it back home to Devon, and it ran very well despite the clutch. So to say a big thanks to Steve, this video is sponsored by The Car Barn Limited, which is Steve's business. thecarbarn.co.uk, classic car specialist, transporting vintage, classic and sports cars anywhere within the United Kingdom, from barn finds to concours winners. He also deals with storage of cars and can store up to 60 cars. He also offers other services such as barn finds, so they're more common than you might think. If you need to auction a barn find, Steve's your man, or bereavement sales, perhaps someone in the family passes away and leaves a vehicle that needs to be sorted out, Steve can help. Give him a call. Thanks again, Steve.
So then, the catch was duly revealed to be the fact that the Brera was suffering from the inevitable rusty front subframe, and it also needed a new clutch and a dual mass flywheel. as the old items were rattling like a skeleton in a dustbin, and it was hard to get the car into gear unless it was already moving. Exterior, very nice. Very few stone chips on the front bumper. A couple of marks on the bonnet, mostly on the leading edge, like these. Yeah, actually overall really good, pretty good. There's no dings, no apparent crash damage or anything like that. Panel gaps are all good. Obviously you can see it really needs a good detail. There's a few marks here and there which I'm not going to be able to get rid of with polish, but that's a horse. That's not the Brera. There is a stables next to my unit, so I get used to the sound of dobbins. Rear's pretty good. Exhaust's fine, it's not blowing. It's a little bit rusty underneath, as we'll see later, but it's the SV version, which stands for Sky View. Again, this is all glass. There's a few scratches on the window from, obviously it's got some grit or something that's been scratching. The window surround has a bit of paint rubbing. I don't know what's caused that, but there's a bit more here. There's a bit more here. And these badges obviously have been put on by a previous owner, because it's not an S model. It's a 2.4 diesel SV. Nice wheels. The bigger discs and calipers. I think it looks great with those wheels. They're also 19-inch, and the tyres fitted are Michelin Pilot Sport 4s, which are obviously terrific tyres. They are a little bit worn, to say the least. They're probably down to the wear indicators now, so whether they'll last me the winter or not, I don't know. Got a couple of tiny marks, tiny rust spots, which can be easily sorted out. Things like this down here, which has obviously been set off by stones flicked up by the tyres. That's pretty common. And here again on the back arches, this is an area of the Brera which obviously comes in for quite a lot of stone chips as well. They need probably cleaning carefully, touching in with paint, and then putting some wheel arch protectors on, which I've already got some film to put on there. What's the inside like? Well, window drops work on both sides, and somebody's decided to replace the puddle lights with Alfa Romeo logos, which is kind of okay, I think. Interior is really good, considering the mileage. Obviously the gear knob's worn, the steering wheel's worn. The driver's seat has more wear than the passenger seat, but it's right. A little bit of dings and scratches and things on the handles, and as you would expect. Both sets of windows work, passenger and driver. No rips or anything in the driver's seat. A little bit of fading of the black.
Back boxes look okay. The exhaust is probably not long for this world. Certainly that section looks a bit dodgy. Right, fuel tank straps are okay. Bit of rust starting to happen in this corner. The sills look great. Nothing wrong with those. Subframe also better than I was expecting. Doesn't seem to have any holes. It's got a bit of surface rust, and obviously the steering rack, which is new in 2017. No holes in it as far as I can see, apart from the one that we already knew about, which was this massive one here. Yeah. Repair it. See if blasting reveals any holes. Boots look reasonably new. Yeah, doesn't look that bad.
So then, without looking this gift horse in the mouth, what's the plan?
So what's the plan?
Well, the Brera has always been regarded as a kind of style over substance Alfa. So I'd like to change that and make this Brera a better driver's car. Maybe uprate the suspension or find ways to reduce the weight. I might even remap it to 240 bhp, which is very easy and cheap to do. But first, what do I need to do to get it back into a good, usable condition? So, first of all, get it up in the air and drop that rusty subframe. Second, get the gearbox off, replace the flywheel and clutch. Now, I've never done this before, so I'm hoping to get my mechanic mate Marcus and Gary to give me a hand. Thirdly, service the engine, check all the other components carefully. Fourth, clean and winterize the floor pan to minimize any future issues. Fifth, deep clean the interior. Sixth, investigate those warning lights, see if they can be fixed or sorted out. Seventh, thoroughly clean, sort any body rust. There's only a few spots, but don't want to leave them hanging around. Eighth, replace that cracked windscreen. Ninth, maybe fit some LED lights and some new wipers for sure to get me through the winter safely. And 10th, drive it away into the wet and salty sunset, knowing that winter can't hurt me. So then, keep watching my channel for regular updates on the Brera, as this has to be one of the best looking cars available today for literally the price of a bag of crisps. Find a decent one and enjoy the attention you will get. If you've already got a Brera, or you have an opinion about them one way or the other, please leave me a comment below, and don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already. I'll see you very soon in the next gripping instalment of the Alfa Nut. Cheers for watching everybody, and stay nutty.